Before we get to that interview, though, folks, I do need to tell you about today's sponsor, which is BetOnline. We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back on for another football season. As always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all of your pro and college football action this year. With a new and updated site and interface, even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to their website or use your mobile device to sign up today to receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Don't forget to use promo code BELIEVE to receive your bonus. From football, basketball, boxing, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all of the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Lightbox, say goodbye to dull gifts. Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are the brightest gift of the year. Using cutting-edge technology and innovative techniques, we've cracked the science of sparkle, creating the highest quality lab-grown diamonds you can find at a light price, $800 per carat. They have the same chemical makeup of natural diamonds, but just are grown in a lab. Because of their process, they can create stones in blush pink, beautiful blue, as well as classic white. Lightbox lab-grown diamonds are the gift they'll never want to take off, priced so they won't have to. They really do make any outfit sparkle. Visit lightboxjewelry.com to add sparkle to your holiday shopping. That's lightboxjewelry.com. Lightbox diamonds, never a dull moment.
Welcome, everyone, to this Believe in NFL Draft Prospects Spotlight interview, bringing you inside look into some of the fantastic football players on the college level that will, this year, maybe next year, whenever it is, they'll be making their transition eventually to the National Football League. I have Mr. Christian Mahogany, who's a starting offensive guard from Boston College. If you haven't watched too much Boston College film this year, I will tell you the offensive line is one of the top in the nation, as it is almost annually. So welcoming Christian to the show. Christian, appreciate it, man. How's everything been going for you, brother?
We're going well. Successful season as a unit, successful season for myself, and it's only been up from here. So it's been going well.
I love it, man. I love it. I really want to dig in, a little bit of just the journey in general, Christian, because obviously I did my background research on you, just, going back to recruiting profiles. And I know you're a New Jersey guy like I am as well. So I want to start you off actually Paramus Catholic, which if you're not a New Jersey guy, or if you're not a big, if you don't understand kind of the landscape of high school football, Paramus is probably the best high school football team in New Jersey. And it's one of the top nationally. They're ranked pretty frequently. They have a lot of great football players that have come out of Paramus. So talk to me there, Christian, a little bit just about high school days, going into college, and maybe a little bit of the recruiting side of everything, and Boston College obviously being your final destination.
So yeah, Paramus Catholic, obviously it's great nationally. I mean, the past couple of years, they've been slouching a little bit, but everything I think, happens for a reason, and they'll turn it around really soon. But when I was there, my freshman year, we had guys like Rashawn Gary, now on the Packers, number one player in the nation, stuff like that, like to learn from. He was always a great guy, great sport. Like we always talked in the halls, when I was starting out, because actually like in high school was the first time I actually played football. So that was like my little taste, especially learning from a guy like Rashawn and all that. It was just a regular process. So, like, it was pretty normal to me. I was new to the whole recruiting and, like, getting recruited by college coaches, receiving scholarships, and all that good stuff. And, like, actually my junior year is when I really made the transition, like, to play O-line. And I played left tackle there for my 2 years, my last 2 years, my junior, senior year. And I guess, I watched a lot of film on, like, Hall of Famers and guys I saw in Madden and stuff like that. That's how I got into the transition really, really fast and easy. And I saw like what they were doing. So I try to learn from it as best as I can. And the recruiting process was great. All the coaches showed me a lot of love that recruited me. It was never anything like nothing went wrong. But Boston College was just, once I went there on a visit, it was just, it was for me right away. It was close to home. I loved the guys that they had there, the guys that I'm playing with now. Up until like everything, the education and like the O-linemen that have come before me, I thought it was just the best fit for me, myself, and like for my family in general.
And I think another, obviously, a big layer of that is obviously Boston College is one of the best academic institutions in the country as well. And playing up at Chestnut Hill, obviously, a lot of great football has been played throughout Boston College. And I really want to ask you a little bit, because I know you are a redshirt sophomore in your second year of full-time starting, and you're a part of an offensive line that is very senior heavy. Obviously, we got Alec Lindstrom at center. We have Zion Johnson, who was playing left tackle last year, moved back inside to his natural position at left guard. You got Ben Petrula, who's been through the ringer, countless times. What's it like for you to be a part? I mean, I guess you're kind of, quote unquote, the young pup of that group, but to be a part of one of the outstanding offensive lines in all college football, and a part of a group that, I mean, I think Vrabel's been injured a little off and on, I believe, so far this year. But, I mean, you can make an argument that you guys have at least 5 NFL caliber players, maybe more, waiting in the wings as well.
Well, yeah. I mean, first to start, like those guys, Ben, Zion, Alec, Vrabel, they've all been great helps to me, especially last year, COVID year. We didn't have too much time together in the spring. Spring ball got cut short. And in the summer and then camp was really our quick transition to learning all the new plays, especially with a new coaching staff. So we learned all that. We learned how to gel quickly as a unit. Some guys move positions. And I thought last year we played the best of our ability. And then I think this year, if you look at us, we're better. We got guys at their natural spots that they've been playing for a while. And the results show, like, we've been dominating and stuff like that. And like those guys are my brothers. Like I said, yeah, being the young pup, and like it's there's nothing better than to be a redshirt freshman walking into an older group of guys to like guide you and teach you everything, the ways of the road about college football, and then it's eventually the next level. So those guys I'm eternally grateful for. I will continue to talk to them whenever we like they leave or I leave or whenever, and we will be friends for life for sure.
I love it, man. And one thing I really wanted to ask you about a little bit is, obviously, we're starting at left guard last year. Now we're moving over to right guard. Obviously, Zion moves back inside, so you're going to make he obviously had a great year the year before playing left guard. So, like, why move that, right? So my question is, I know a lot of people always talk about the transition from like right tackle to left tackle to right tackle. How different is it, Christian? Because you said you had played left tackle in high school. You're playing left guard as a redshirt freshman your first year of starting. Is it as difficult as people say, moving from the left side or the right side, or vice versa?
I just feel like it could be difficult if you're not prepared for it. And I definitely like was prepared. That was something we talked about in the off season, like in the winter process. So I feel like playing left tackle in high school and then moving inside was actually a little keener for me, because like I'm a stronger guy. There's less space. Like it just worked out for me to play guard. And like all my coaches and all the college coaches, pretty much except maybe one school, said I was going to play guard anyway. So I started to make that transition early in my later in my high school career, like senior year. I started to maybe take some guard reps at camp, stuff like that, while also still preparing to play a season at left tackle. But this year, moving to right guard, it was a smooth transition. I feel like I actually gained a step in some sort of ways. I feel like more natural there. I feel like I mean maybe I had more time to work at it in the off season and in the spring and then the summer and then camp, instead of like the COVID year, just go to left guard and just plug and play. So I feel like this is more natural to me, and I feel like I haven't really lost a beat. So I feel like if you're ready for the transition and you're willing to do it 100%, you should go at it 100%, no doubt.
And I was, of course, a guy that like hit you up on Twitter and was just like, we followed each other, and I'm just like you kept flashing to me, right? Like I was like, left guard, you're doing some great work over there, and you have, I've only watched a couple of games so far, but for me, you have taken a huge jump. You've gone from a guy who I thought last year was battling, right? Like you were physical, obviously. You were playing through some growing pains, as is every young player. But this year, you just look so much more comfortable. For you, what are a couple things, maybe it's from a technical perspective, maybe it's just from a physical growth perspective? Like, what are some things that you feel like have been the biggest differences in your growth as a football player this year?
Well, I think it's technical, mental, and physical, like all three phases of the game. Obviously, playing O-line, it's a violent thing. And I was, at that point in my life, that was only my fourth year fully playing offensive line. So I was still transitioning into it, even though like I played it for a while now, but still I was still transitioning in. And then now, this year, more film, more study, more time as a unit. We're one of the most experienced units in the country, if not the most. So just more time with the guys, spending more time without COVID, a lot of the COVID protocols, you build a connection, you build everything, you build trust. That's the biggest thing to play O-line, especially as a unit, to switch off games and to switch off everything. More film, I feel like. I've been watching more film. I obviously got stronger in the weight room over the summer, the spring, everything. I feel like just I slowed down in my mind, and the game has slowed down tremendously for me, myself, and eventually this whole line unit. So that's the biggest thing. I feel like I've taken a step in my game.
And I wanted to ask, because obviously you said you hadn't played football up until you were in high school. Were you was there a different sport that you may have liked, or was it just kind of just being late introduced to the game?
Well, I was always introduced to football. Like, I played football a little bit, like in like 4th, 5th grade, but like they always said I was too big. Like I would have to lose this amount of weight, and like I tried it, and I tried it so hard. Like I used to run in trash bags with my coach around the field trying to lose weight, but it just didn't work out. So then I just transitioned to basketball, baseball, other sports, and like I fell in love with them. And that's why I think, honestly, I took a step back from the game of football. That's why I love it so much, and I appreciate it now so much for what it's done for me in my life. And like if you told me as a 14-year-old kid, like, yeah, Christian, you'll be maybe one of the best guards in the nation in a year or two, I would probably tell you like you're out of your mind, just because of like what I was doing previously. So yeah, so I think the step away from the game and just like coming into it slow and process in high school, I think it helped me in the long run for sure.
Mm-hmm. And I know I asked obviously about the offensive line that you're a part of, but I want to ask you about a couple other offensive guys for a second on the skill position specifically. As a lifelong Notre Dame fan, it was so sad when Phil Dracovic left Notre Dame to go over to Boston College, but I'm so happy that he has played very well over the last 2 years. I know he just got back from the injury. He just had specifically last game, he had a fantastic football game. Hunter Long last year was a great football player. Obviously, Trey Berry transferring in from Jacksonville State's a guy that's on radars. Zay Flowers is a guy that I was infatuated in the summer. I'm like, my boy's a good football player. How special is the skill position? Because I think sometimes with such a good offensive line, maybe we underrate how talented these guys are as well. But for my money, Zay Flowers is a day 2 potential pick if he decides to declare. I think Phil Dracovic, maybe if he comes out, but like, hey, whenever he does come out, I feel like he is a potential top 5 quarterback. Like for me, there's just so much talent on that Eagles offense.
The skill positions, I'm not going to say they're underrated, but
yeah,
they're definitely guys that, put in the work. They do more than what you see on the film, like on the broadcast copy. When you watch the film, they block down the field. They care about – I just feel like as a Boston College, like we all care about each other. Like it's just one guy doing for the guy next to him. Look left to the right. We always say that before the game. Look to the right, and do it for your brother, essentially. So those guys know, it's not all about catching the ball, making highlights. While they do look good doing it, especially, Zay, Phil, Hunter, Jalen Gill, Pat, all those guys, we like they all shine in their moments, but they all do the right things as well in the classroom, in the locker room, everywhere, every aspect of the game is well appreciated, and you could see why that when you turn on our tape, that the results that come out of it.
For sure. And Christian, I know you mentioned that you've been watching, a little bit more film. I'm assuming that's probably, some self-evaluation to a degree. I'm sure it's watching some other guys. For you, who are some guys, NFL, college, like whatever it is, who are some guys, past, present, grown up, whoever, or that are some of your maybe favorite guys to watch to help you to improve in your game?
Yeah. So when I made the transition to offensive line in my junior year of high school, like I was obsessed with Madden Ultimate Team and Mutt, and like that was like my favorite game at the time. And like I saw, like obviously you had to build O-linemen, but I didn't really know who these guys were. So right. I would just build my O-line the highest overall and be like, all right, yeah, let's go. And then when I made the transition, I was like, okay, Jonathan Ogden, okay, Trent Williams, okay, tackles, okay, left tackles specifically, okay, all those guys, Trent. And then now as I transition to guard, I've been looking more at Quentin Nelson's film, Zach Martin, guys like that, all flash through my head. Like I follow Brandon Thorne on Twitter, and he like posts all these highlights, and they're great. That's how I really got into it. And those just guys like that, Trent, Quentin, and Zach Martin are the three guys I like to watch the most.
And obviously a couple of good guys to keep an eye on for sure. Quentin, Zach Martin, great football players. I wanted to ask only a couple more. I really appreciate all the time that you've given me. I know obviously when Phil went out, the offense had to kind of, get a new understanding of maybe their footing a little bit. You guys are bowl eligible. You have a couple of nice wins in a row over Virginia Tech and Georgia Tech. My question, just moving to the end of the season, already bowl eligible, what are some goals that you all have in mind that would make it a good ending to the 2021 season?
Obviously, when we had injuries impact us, 4 losses in a row, 4 ACC losses in a row when we got to ACC play, that wasn't what we thought of when we first got into the season, like from the coaches to the staff to all the way down to our players. We didn't think that was going to be the outcome. We played some tough games, and I believe we put our best effort in, and sometimes some games got away from us. But for now on, right now, they all remember November. So we're 2-0 in November. We got 2 more games and then a bowl game, obviously. So we got 2 more home games in Alumni, in the cold, and so Florida State's got to come here, and it's going to be a tough game to beat us at home. And then Wake Forest got to come here, and it's going to be a great show on the mat. We don't know the time yet, but we're going to be prepared and ready to go.
I love it, man. And kind of the last question I have for you is obviously spotlighting you for general college football fans for a second. Like, we need to take a look at 73, but obviously I'm a guy that works heavy in the NFL draft space. And I think that you are a young man that has all the talent to ascend to a nice prospect on the next level. So you're a redshirt sophomore. You could come out this year. You could come out next year. I think you could technically come out for the next few seasons because you got the COVID year attached too, if you chose to exercise it. So just looking forward for a second, whenever it does happen, when did it first become a dream for you to be a professional athlete? And just what type of blessing would it be when that ultimately does become a reality for you?
So, yeah, I probably found out I wanted to be a professional athlete after our state championship game. That was my sophomore year, Paramus Catholic. That was the only game I played in all season and at D-line, and I made a couple plays, and I was like, man, all my coaches were hyped for me, and I didn't really know what I was doing then, so I was just playing football for the first time, just a kid, just playing. And then once I saw college scholarships come in and stuff like that, my coach telling me, yeah, you're going to play for a long time, I'm special and stuff like that, I really sat back and was like, wow, I could do this forever. And then I wanted to become a professional athlete, but my late father told me all the time, when I was young, oh, wow, he loves football. I knew he was going to play football, even though I wasn't playing at the time. So he was like, yeah, he's always going to play football. So that was always probably in the back of my head, even till now. So, and realistically, if that day happens, and God willing that day happens, it's going to be surreal, just for myself, all the hard work. Every athlete dreams of being a pro athlete. And for most, it doesn't work out all the time. But, people keep working and put their dreams to it. And if I'm blessed enough to be in that position to get drafted at the next level, that would be great. I'm going to put my best foot forward, work hard, and do what I can at the best I know how. So it's going to be a surreal moment for sure. Probably tears flow, hug my mom, my family. It's going to be a great time.
Again, Mr. Christian Mahogany, starting offensive guard for Boston College, one of the top offensive linemen in the ACC and across college football. Christian, appreciate it again, man. This was fantastic. Getting a little bit of the backstory, brother. I know it took a little while for us to get connected, but thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Well, good. Appreciate it.